think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Money Level Show where we think, act, and prosper. All right, so today we're going to talk about Elon Musk, and we're going to talk about, is inflation going to get worse? Now, a lot of analysts were trying to say that inflation was going to peak. Even Lynn Alden herself thought inflation was going to peak around quarter one, the end of quarter one, which was, I believe, the end of March. And that whole narrative has shifted because we obviously saw that a war started in Ukraine and Russia, which ended up disrupting supply chains even more. The prices of food have went up, the prices of energy have went up, gas prices have went up. So it caused inflation to be exacerbated, right? So now we're going to talk about this other caveat that may even contribute to inflation even skyrocketing higher. All right. So first thing I want to come out and say is that Elon Musk says he thinks inflation is worse than reported and likely to continue through 2022. So you have the CEO of Tesla coming out and saying that on his earnings call, the quarter one 2022 earnings call of Tesla. He says, I think the official numbers actually understate the true magnitude of inflation, and inflation appears to be likely to continue for at least the remainder of this year. So now Elon Musk is even coming out and saying that. And I did a video recently where I talked about, are the inflation numbers lies? You know, have we been lied to? I mean, because when you compare them to Shadow Stats, which takes the 70s method of actually measuring inflation, we're actually at about 17%. We're not at 8.5%. They have changed the algorithms over time. So those are some of the things that we have to pay attention to. And Elon is even saying that he believes that the numbers are false. He said some suppliers are requesting 20 to 30% cost increases for parts from 2021 and 2022. So he's saying that they're requesting 20 to 30% cost increases for some of these parts for the cars and stuff, well above the 8.5% inflation rates. And then he says he doesn't think Tesla will raise car prices again soon. Current prices are for a vehicle delivered in the futures like 6 to 12 months from now. So this is our best guess. So he's saying that he doesn't plan on raising car prices again. But if inflation gets worse, will he change his mind on that? That's the question. All right. So I don't know if any of you have been really keeping your finger on the pulse of this, but China has been having some immense lockdowns in the Shanghai area and also other places around the country. And it has been bad. I mean, the videos I've been seeing has been bad, just how they're treating the citizens out there. I mean, all the police are in hazmat suits and everything, and they're just treating this like this was just a crazy black plague event or something like that. But, that's what's happening. So, and that's also like contributing to cargo backlogs in Shanghai. A lot of people aren't able to go to work. People are on lockdown. They're having to send a person out about every day. I think you get one person that can go out and get the food and bring the food back to the family, and they have to go out with a hazmat suit and everything. And it's just crazy. And so this is like some of my, conviction of like where I'm like, okay, I really do not like communism, especially just how they're controlling the population like that. On the other hand, Chinese stocks are cheap, and I'm like, hey, I can make money and be a capitalist and everything. So, it's kind of this, gift and curse, and I do not support what's going on over there, even though I may talk about Chinese stocks sometimes. Cargo backlogs in Shanghai, a precursor to global port congestion as COVID crisis drags on. So this isn't slowing down. This has been going on for weeks. And the ports are just getting bad over there. So it says concern is growing that the spread of COVID cases and city lockdowns in China will have massive downstream effects for global supply chains that could dwarf previous disruptions since the start of the pandemic. So they're saying that this could be worse than the start of the pandemic. It says last May, the huge Yantian container terminal at the port of Shenzhen throttled down to 30% of normal productivity for a month to stamp out a handful of positive cases there. Hundreds of thousands of shipments that couldn't enter the port accumulated in factories and warehouses, and many vessels skipped the port to avoid waiting 7 days or more at anchor. It took weeks after the port reopened to clear the cargo backlog. The effects cascaded to the U.S. and Europe, resulting in port traffic jams. Transit times tripled the norm and missed retail deliveries for the holidays. So they're saying that this is bad, right? And they're saying that the freight is piling up. 25 million people in Shanghai have been sequestered for 18 days. Chinese authorities this week slightly eased the restrictions, dividing the city into 3 categories based off previous screenings and risk levels. People can wander outside their apartment buildings, but are encouraged to stay home in neighborhoods with no positive COVID-19 cases in the last 2 weeks. Those in high-risk areas must still shelter at home. So they're forcing people to stay at home. People aren't going to work. And then you see that these ports are being slammed and people are actually turning around with freight. They're turning around. Shanghai is one of the largest manufacturing centers in China with heavy concentrations of automotive and electronics suppliers. It is home to the largest container port in the world and a major airport that serves inbound and outbound air cargo. Exports produced in Shanghai account for 7.2% of China's total volume, and about 20% of China's export container throughput moves through the port there. So they actually do a lot. I mean, they're the biggest, port for these container ships. They have a major airport that serves inbound and outbound cargo on planes and things like that. So it's crazy. Most warehouses and plants are closed. 9 out of 10 trucks are sidelined. The port and airport have limited function. Shipping units are stranded in the wrong places and freight is piling up. And it talks about just how the impact is going to spread beyond Shanghai because China is a big exporter. We import a lot of goods from China. We gave a lot of our manufacturing to China for cheaper goods, and so we import a lot of things. And this also happened at the beginning of the pandemic when we weren't able to get enough masks because China shut down their ports and stuff because we're so reliant on imports. Now, some people are saying that this isn't going to last long. So this is Yahoo Finance. They actually talked to someone that said supply chain shock of China COVID-19 lockdowns going to be short-lived, expert says. He says that it's going to be minimal impact. Whoever this guy is, he is the executive at FreightWaves Sonar, Lucas Velasquez. When those ports do come fully back online, there might be little ripple effect, but the data is telling us right now it's going to be short-lived. Now, I personally don't believe that because it just compounds and compounds and compounds on top of a lot of things that has already been, disruptive to the supply chains. And so, he may be right, he may not be right. I'm kind of leaning on the side that he may be wrong because we're seeing a lot of people that are trying to make these predictions are actually wrong. I mean, look at the Fed saying that inflation was transitory. And this has been going on for a while. I mean, they talked about the COVID-19 lockdowns have been, causing disruptions to the chains. I mean, this is from Bloomberg. U.S. goods risk being late as China's lockdowns worsen shipping port jams. And this is due to the COVID-19 lockdowns. So this is how policy and geopolitics affect us. When you see that, a lot of people are reliant on global trade, the rest of the countries in the world able to come together, partnership, trade with one another so that we can benefit each other's societies and that societies can grow. And, when you have policymakers that, do lockdowns on the sickness, and they are coming out doing these extreme lockdowns. People can't go anywhere. I mean, the videos are just horrid out there, and I'm seeing them on Twitter a lot. And this impacts us because then we're going to see the prices of goods and services go even higher. And it's going to affect you and I and our pocketbooks and our families and such. And so this is how politics actually play into the world of finance because you have someone over there making this policy, and now the ports are jammed. And now people can't go to work. Now people can't export goods that are needed in other countries. So What do you all think? Do you all think that inflation is going to get worse? I mean, it just seems like these things just keep piling on top of each other. They just keep going, going, going. It's hard to be optimistic about inflation going forward in the economy, the society, and everything. So what do you all think? Leave that in the comment section below. Be sure to hit the like button, to subscribe. And I want to thank you all for joining me today. And y'all have a blessed day. Peace.